Hello and welcome to the Voyagers Adventure tour. I'm sure you've all waited a long time for this, I have as well, but the park is finally here and it's finally complete. And I'm so happy with it. This is easily my favourite park that I've ever made and I'm so glad that I got to do it. It took quite a while, as you'll probably all know, and have seen from watching all the episodes that I started this park. It's probably a year and a half ago now. Quite a long time ago. And obviously the first episode we did the whole of this car park area and the main entrance to the park, and then after that, over like 8 weeks, we added loads of coasters, different themed areas, restaurants, a dark ride, water rides, all sorts, loads of flat rides. It's been crazy, and yeah, I'm so glad that it's finally over. But it was really exciting for me to not only do this park series but share it with all of you. And the reception's been great. You've all absolutely loved it, which has been fantastic to watch, and I can't wait to show you the next park series as well. So let's get into the tour, shall we? People are actually in the park now, so that is one thing I definitely want to do with the next series, is have people in the park. So the spawn is in the metro station, and you'll come out of here into the park. Like I said, with my next park, I'm probably going to do that a lot in this video. When I'm going through, I'm going to give myself like feedback and stuff that I want to do with the next park that I've learned from doing this one, and that's one of them is building the park while guests are already in it, sort of like looking around, just because it helps understand flow of the park and where people are doing certain things and how they interact with paths and different rides and what parts can be too congested or like paths too wide and stuff. So that's definitely something I'm going to do in the next park series. When you come in, you've got the 2 ticket booths either side. There's one here and one over there. Got the toilets just behind it, and then obviously the main entrance as you approach the park is here. I love the view of the dive coaster you get behind it as well. I thought very early on that I wanted a dive coaster. Good timing. I wanted a dive coaster or just some big centerpiece coaster being able to see from the entrance, and yeah, that just turned out perfectly. Got a big mural on the floor as well, got a couple of these. Then obviously you come in through the turnstiles. There's a help desk on that side and a little shop on this side for when you come out. And then park maps, these are now all around the park. Give you a nice bit of information on where stuff is, all the names of the rides and everything. Nice little touch I wanted to do. I'll definitely do these in probably my other park series as well, because that was fun to do. But yeah, you come around this corner, you get such a cool view of the dive coaster off in the distance, and it is the park centerpiece coaster, and obviously I've done it as like a blue colour scheme so that it mostly blends into the sky when it's nice and sunny like this. Not normally in this country, but yeah, so it blends in with the sky so you don't see it as much from the other themed areas, but obviously it's always there at the centre of the park and can act as a bit of a waypoint as well to help people around. In the main entrance area we have all these food units and loads of seating areas down both sides. Other park maps, and then you've got like nice water features, so the water starts at the top here and goes through the entire park, so it connects it all together. Mack Xtreme spinner off in the distance. You can just see so many coasters from this one area, and that was exactly how I wanted it to be. So you've got all the other food units on this side as well, and then obviously you've got the interaction with the water throughout the entire park, which you can see from everywhere, and it connects all the rides together. Acts as a nice bit of natural kind of scenery for the whole park, and yeah, I just love the whole way this has turned out. As a hand reaching out there. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm just really happy with how this has turned out. Well, which side should we go down first? Down here you've got the seating area that I built obviously in episode 2, and there's some nice views, and all the different themed areas as well have kind of got natural barriers between them all, so you can't really have too much blend between the different themed areas. Look at that. I just love this coaster. It's such a centerpiece of the park. Exactly what I think this area needed. It was the first ever B&M dive coaster I've made as well, so that was really interesting. I think this park, more than any of my others, has definitely put an emphasis more on the coasters and the quality of the coasters. They've all been like perfectly 4 meter smooth and everything, all of them custom supported. That is definitely what I will keep up with from now on throughout all my park series. Is all of the coasters are going to be like this. And a bit of feedback for myself for this area, which I want to do for the next park series, is that this is way too big. It's massive. There's too much open space with not enough going on. Like, it kind of needs, like, I don't know, some more covered areas around the park. some more benches, and just some more kind of stuff going on, I think will help. Which way should we go first? Should we go left first? You can do the dive coaster kind of halfway through. You go over this bridge, and this is sort of into like the darker area of the park. So you've got the family wing coaster there flying around. The indoor coaster, you get some good views across this park as well. You can see all the B&Ms from here. Obviously the Mack off in the background. Just the top of the GCI. So we're leaving Atlantis now. Over to the other side, we have Eldoria. Some of these I came up with and I can't even remember how you pronounce them. This is the maintenance gate through to maintenance area, if you're wondering why that's there. Yeah, this area I'm quite happy with the way it was sort of planned out, because there's quite a lot of natural scenery to look at. There's like the vines and everything. Quite flat ride heavy as well, so this area has a lot of capacity. Halcyon? I can't. These are all of the names that you lot suggested in the comments, so I really like the look of them. I probably didn't ever get around to pronouncing them myself. But yeah, so that's the Insanity spinning flat ride there. Over here there's the Sizzler flat ride called Phantom, I can pronounce that one. And then from when you're on this ride as well, you get some great views across. Oh, okay, you can't stand on there. You get some great views across the park, all the different elements of the coasters as well. You can see the distance. I will go on the coasters obviously in this tour, won't be going on any of the flat rides. You come down this side and get great views of the family wing coaster flying around. I had such a good time making this coaster just because of the views that you get from all the different areas as it's like zooming around the layout. So fun making that one. The centerpiece of this area, the main focal point, is the dark ride. I absolutely love making this, the dark coaster, Gerstlauer indoor coaster. I'd never made an indoor coaster before, so that was definitely something I wanted to do in this park. And as difficult and time consuming as it was, I definitely want to do it again, but on a smaller scale, because this for me was too big. Even though I reduced the size of it quite a few times, I definitely want to make a smaller one so I can go really, really in depth with all the theming. But yeah, this will be the first coaster that we go on, so let's go into it. I really like this queue. I did sort of like an outdoor area that kind of more acts as an overflow queue, and it gives you kind of a nice introduction to the building by showing you all the plants and foliage and everything, all the rock work, and you get this really nice view of the outdoor portion of the coaster, which is really important to me to include this. If you've ever read John Wardley's book called Creating My Own Nemesis, he highlights a really important part of when he's making ghost trains and dark rides. He said he likes to put an outdoor section with something quite big that happens before the outdoor section, sort of not only to advertise the ride, obviously it's like a big drop, so when you see people screaming going past, you think, whoa, that looks really cool. But also, if it's a massive building, you don't know what's in it, you might sort of have people a bit anxious as to find out what the ride is, and maybe a bit unsure as whether they want to go on it or not because they don't know what it is. So obviously with this you can quite clearly see that it's a indoor coaster, so people know exactly what they're getting themselves in for, and it's only a 1.2 as well, so you know it's not going to be the most thrilling or insane thing in the world. Obviously you enter this queue at night. Obviously we know Planet Coaster at this point, if you have a building and it's daytime, all the light just creeps through, so nighttime. A long time ago, this temple held a powerful blue crystal. As you will know by now, this ride has quite an in-depth story that ties the whole area together, which was something really important that I wanted to add. I love all the water effects as well, kind of going around with the light following them. Legend says that it gives its owner unlimited power and magic. The crystal was hidden away in this temple, guarded by a white bird protecting the crystal. And then obviously this is sort of the main queue. I like this shot as you go down the corridor with all of the candles as well. And then at the end it just says, to ascend one must embrace direction unknown, and you can actually see the train and the lift hill at the top there, and you can hear the white bird. There you go, so you're going up. Oh, move your head. There we go. So obviously you can go up either side, but because of how Planet Coaster works, only one side is actually functional. So dual loading station, go up the stairs, go through everyone's heads, and then you've got the station as well with some cool lighting effects. Definitely would have liked to put a bit more effort into the station and just this whole ride in general, but just timing, I just really wanted to get this ride in this park done, so that's why I really want to go back to the indoor coaster concept. But let's get on the ride. So that was the Gerstlauer indoor coaster. I had so much fun making this. Like I said, it's far from perfect. There is so much more I wanted to add to this ride, but just because I wanted to get this series out and due to time constraints, it's not as good as I would have liked it to be, but it does give me a lot of insight onto what I would do with an indoor coaster next time, which I will definitely make one at some point. Come down the stairs and you've got your photo unit, and then obviously you got the rest of the themed area to explore. I just really like the whole vibe of this area. It's very different to the rest of the park, but it still obviously fits in with the adventure theme. Down here you've got all of these tables, which have a great view as of the outdoor portion of the coaster. Very good time in there as it flies past and then back down into there. You've got this cool overgrown effect that's like climbing up the side of the building. And then in here you've got the White Wing Tavern, which is just a food unit. In my next park I definitely want to put a lot more effort into the food units and kind of make them not as blocky and not as very standard like this one. I've got so many ideas for the next park. I've already started making it as well, which is cool. I have 2 parks on the go currently. Don't know which one's going to come out first, but you'll find out. Then down here there's kind of an extension to the area, another park maps, and then the B&M family wing coaster. Again, I had such a fun time making this. I just love the way it interacts with the whole area, and you get, oh, I'm in the wall. You get a great view of the whole coaster from down here as well, with the inversion there, the corkscrew going right over that section of track and right past this path. Again, I just love this coaster. There was quite a few coasters in this park. I'd say nearly all of them I'd built well before I started any of the theming, because I just wanted to know exactly what coasters were going to be in the area, how they could influence the theming as well, and I just wanted to get them perfect by like smoothing them using the 4-meter method. So this is the entrance to the coaster. Really small, intimate queue for this one, kind of because I was running out of space. But it does give you the opportunity to do some really cool stuff like this, where all the theming's like very in your face and all above you, and it's just kind of sensory overload with the soundtrack and the fog machines and everything, all the foliage, because this is supposed to be the white-winged bird from the dark ride, from the indoor coaster. So that's its nest on top of the station. The station sort of reminds me of Swarm in a way, where it's like some sort of destroyed, it's like, I don't know, some sort of building, like a church almost. Then you go onto the ride here. Great timing with the autosave there. But shall we go on? Let's do it. There you go, that was the wing coaster. Really happy with that one. It's just a nice short coaster that feels very like new gen B&M, where they're being very experimental. We've got another photos unit as you come out of the attraction, and I just love the way it interacts with the path. It's sort of like, this is the base of the ride, it goes out, does all the stuff over the lake, and then comes back and interacts with the path twice, which is really nice. Definitely want to build another one of these again at some point. Maybe go for a more different and unique layout for what the wing coasters will normally do, but maybe the launch as well, that would be quite cool. Sort of like Mandrill Mayhem, but yeah, I really enjoyed doing that one. So that's this area complete now. We will move down into the Asian area first before we go and do the rest of Atlantis with the dive coaster. This was the last section of the park that I made. I just absolutely love this whole area. It just came together really nicely. It's a quite nice, detailed, themed experience as you're going around. And like with the wing coaster, I'll try and get some different POVs in this tour. If you want to see the main like front row POVs of everything, they'll be in each of those ride specific episodes. This is a flat ride down here. It's got a really nice view across the whole area. There's multiple points you can come into this area as well. It's very busy down here. A lot of benches, loads of nice trees and foliage everywhere, and then kind of the centerpiece, perfect timing, of this area is the launched B&M Invert. I really wanted to try something different because I wanted to do a B&M Invert for quite a while. I did one in Peak Park, that's it, which was very inspired by Nemesis, so I wanted to do something a bit different. and I went for Nemesis Inferno. But yeah, it's very really fun making this ride. Obviously putting a launch on an invert is something that I haven't ever seen done before when I made this. Now I've seen a couple of other people doing it, which is really cool. Really excited by the concept of this coaster, because I feel like B&M could do something like this someday. They've been experimenting with launches for a little while now, so yeah, I thought I'd do this, which was really cool. The layout's nice and simple. Got the food unit here, which I've added a bit more detail to since the final episode of Voyagers Adventure. Again, water, huge part of this area, like with the rest of the park, and you just get some fantastic views of the coaster pretty much no matter where you stood, which is exactly how I wanted it. Down there you've got the exit to this coaster, which will go on first, Talon. This is probably a Zierer coaster. Again, fantastic views across the whole area. This is something that I always like to do in my parks. Views and sight lines is something that I take very seriously, so everything that you're seeing, like the perspectives and stuff, most of the time is planned. Like, I plan to have this queue elevated above here with quite a drastic change in elevation where you'd see both of the coasters interact. So that's sort of like the backdrop to this land, with the foliage block behind it so that you can't see most of outside of the park. And yeah, it just turned out really nicely. There's a lot of people waiting for this coaster, wow. But yeah, we'll go on the ride. I really like this. Does 2 laps, got some great scenery and terrain interaction. Just kind of goes around and explores most of the area and then comes back up here across the water back into the station, which is really nice. Proper crowd pleaser as well from what we can see. So yeah, let's get on the Dragon Coaster Talon. So there you go, that was the Dragon Coaster. I really enjoyed making that one. It's nice and simple sort of layout, just exploring that part of the Asian themed area. And you go back up across the bridge to get to the Invert, and you just get so many good views across this area. Obviously there's loads of water and foliage around. The Invert definitely dominates, but the family coaster as well has its own little section, which is really nice. A lot of terrain changes in this. Most of the park, when I was building it, I started off having like a natural slope go down the whole park, and then put the waterways in and the lakes and stuff. In the next park, I kind of, for both of them actually, I've made the terrain first before I've started to make the park, whereas with this one, quite a lot of the terrain changes I did to sort of suit around the coasters, which obviously both ways are fine, but I want to give myself more of a challenge and like adapt with the terrain, which I thought could be quite a cool idea. Anyway, onto this coaster we have Azure, maybe? All these are comments names, so they all look cool. But yeah, really thank you for commenting all the names you do for all the coasters. It's fantastic to see that you're also enthusiastic about naming them and coming up with different theming ideas and backstory ideas, so I really do appreciate all of the names. I love this queue. This queue kind of really goes up close against the coaster and some of the elements, exactly like Nemesis and Nemesis Inferno. Ooh, really laggy autosave again, thanks. I love the way this all works. Obviously you've got all of the boards and protection parts for the coaster, so no loose articles will hit any of the people in the queue. You get great views of this coaster pretty much no matter where you are in the queue. And it just absolutely hauls around. That's what I love about being in Inverts. When they've been going for a while, like if you ride it towards the end of the day, they are absolutely flying around, and that was exactly the sort of feeling I wanted to get from riding this coaster, that is just zooming. And you get great views of it pretty much from everywhere, like I said. That bird just flew through the loop, that was cool. The soundtrack of this is really cool as well. It's giving me big Icon and Azure vibes. I think I mentioned when I was building the ride, but this is the last coaster I made in the park. I don't know whether it is my favourite. I think I'll probably reveal my favourite towards the end. But yeah, I like the station, nice and simple. the whole ride's nice and simple, really. It's a very classical B&M layout with all the elements that it has and everything, but yeah, it just came together really, really nicely. For some reason, there is no one queuing for this, probably to do with the prestige, which is again something I need to look at in the next park series to get guests more evenly spread around the park, but that's tomorrow me's problem. Anyway, should we have a ride on the coaster? There you go, that was the B&M Invert. I absolutely love making this ride, as I've said many times. But this was obviously the last coaster in this park, so I probably had the most time with it out of all the other coasters, like time to spend on it. But I had the idea for this coaster, I think it was pretty much after the B&M dive coaster. I said to myself that I hadn't really done that many B&Ms in parks before, so I wanted to have this park and showcase some really cool, interesting B&Ms, so that's why there's quite a few of them. I just really, really enjoyed making this one, especially because it fits the theme so nicely. I don't think there's, I don't know, is there many dragon themed B&M inverts? Obviously apart from dueling dragons, so that was the main inspiration, like you're flying around the area like a dragon sort of thing. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with the way this turned out. You can go down here to explore the other part of the themed area, obviously that's mainly dominated by the family coaster. And then you go up this side to the complete other side of the park. This park is huge. That is definitely, for my next two park series, they're going to be a lot smaller. I want to put a lot more detail into less space so that there's more to look at as you're going around. And the scenery is more rich and interesting. So that's something that's going to change, and I've learned from this park to the next. Back in Atlantis now. Another park map stand, and we'll have a quick walk around this side of the area first, because this was the first coaster I built in this park and the first that I themed, so it's the first episode that contains a coaster, episode number 2. I was really happy with it, not the way I do it now. I've definitely learned a lot more about B&M dive coasters and just coasters in general since I started this series, but I'm still really happy with it. It's lovely and smooth, 4 meter. I think I mentioned in that episode as well, but this is supposed to be what B&M call a mini dive, I think now, where it's got the shorter, I think, is it still 8 or is it 6 across trains? Basically the same trains that Baron and Crake have. It's like a mini dive coaster, which is why some of the elements are a lot more tight, and it kind of looks a little bit weird with the really big, wide, flawless trains. These are sort of the same size that you see on She-Ra, Griffin, Oblivion sort of thing. So it's sort of designed for that if it looks a little bit odd, but again, the path interaction, something that I thought was really, really important when making this coaster. You can see kind of in the pit down there after the second drop. I really, really enjoyed making this one. Definitely something I'll go back to, a dive coaster. I enjoyed making it, so I'd like to do another one someday, but in the next couple of parks you'll notice that the coaster types I'm using are coasters that I haven't used too much before. I want the other parks to be more unique and challenge myself by making coasters that I haven't ever really touched before. So you'll definitely see that. I really like the station building for this one. It was a very unstandard, non-standard station building. Again, something I want to do more of in my next parks, but Kailani is the name of the B&M dive coaster. Can't really remember what it means, and you have to go back to its episode and watch that, but it fits in really well, I remember the name. And I like the queue as well. It's got a nice indoor portion as well as the outdoor portion underneath the coaster. You're supposed to visit this part in night, so we'll do that now. It looks really, really atmospheric in here at night. I love the way the light shines off of all the gold parts of like the treasures that are underneath this station. And then you emerge back out into the rest of the outdoor portion of the queue. Get a great view of the splashdown. Is there a train coming? It's there. I'll speed it up a little bit. You get a great view of the drop here, the second drop, and the splashdown. See it zooming around there. I just really like the way this queue turned out. queuing in parks is definitely something that you want to make more exciting for your guests, so my next couple of park series is I'm definitely going to try and make the queues more visually interesting and kind of connect you to the ride, but also explain more of the narrative as well. Like, instead of just having boards around the queue like the indoor coaster, you might have like scenery pieces or pieces of scenery that are pivotal to the story and the narrative of the ride. That's something I'd like to explore more, definitely. And you come up here, nice high elevated point, get a great view across the park again and up the lift hill. Nice attendant there to meet you and batch you into your rows. There's people on the platform as well to help you to your seats and everything. Really happy with this coaster. I was really happy when I made it, and I'm happy with the POV as well. So should we take a ride? There you go, that is the B&M Invert. Again, a coaster that I really wanted to make for quite a while. I had it in my head when I was making like the initial plan for this park, that there was going to be a dive coaster at some point, and I'm happy with the way this turned out. You've got this little viewing platform up here when you exit the ride. It gives you a great view of the other B&Ms. And then you can go down this path into the rest of the themed area. Now, fun fact about this coaster, this originally, when I was making the very first plans for this park, was going to be a hyper. But with the hyper, obviously, I wanted to be an M hyper. Nice long layout with probably a mid-course as well, so you can get quite a lot in, and for capacity reasons. But it ended up just being way too big. It took up way too much of the park as well. Didn't really give me enough chance to put in the amount of other attractions that I wanted to. So I decided to go with a dive coaster instead, and that was kind of like my first idea for this park. They would have a dive coaster as like the main centerpiece. Yeah, so that's kind of like the story behind this coaster. The fact that I nearly had a hyper is really interesting because I've never made a hyper in a park before, and I have to say that I really want to do one, like really badly. Don't know whether it's going to be a B&M hyper or a Mack hyper. I'd say I want to build one of them pretty much equally. I just would love to do a hyper someday, but for me it's finding the park that it would work in. Personally, I didn't think it worked in this park because it took up too much space. I know this park's huge anyway, but with the amount of other coasters that I started thinking of that I needed to go in, it just didn't fit anywhere. And especially because my next two parks will be mini parks. Well, kind of mini parks. One of them is a mini medium park, I suppose, or a large mini park, if that's a thing. So yeah, you'll have to see where a hyper pops up in future. It might even just be a challenge video, who knows. But I really enjoyed making this themed area, and I will show you first. Actually, no, we'll leave that until later. I was going to say that there's the restaurant down there. Actually, no, we'll look at the restaurant now, because the restaurant is technically part of this themed area. Just don't look at the Mack spinner, we'll just look away. So there's this restaurant in the Atlantis area, the temple. I had a really nice time building this. It's a nice small kind of tucked away part of the park. There's a lot more detail in this as well than the rest of the park, which definitely gave me some ideas for the mini park stuff. Imagine it'll be sort of stuff like this, where because it's on a smaller scale, I can spend more time with it, add more detail. Don't know why no one's using it. Maybe just no one likes burgers and pizza. Oh, there we go. One family does. But you get fantastic views of the dive coast. So this restaurant was pretty much built because of these views down here, because it sort of hugs this nice corner of the park. You get great views just everywhere. I'm just going to keep saying great views. And you got all the seating area outside as well. A slightly safety questionable fire pit that you can warm your hands upon or toast some marshmallows or something. It doesn't really fit with the Atlantis themed area, but it'll do. Yeah, a nice view of the dive coaster as well with all the custom supports. I love it when supports go down into paths and you can like really feel like you're getting up close to the ride. There's a KMG afterburner here as well as a nice supporting flat ride. And then we leave this themed area and the Asian themed area over this really big bridge. Because water is such a big part of this park, you've got this huge kind of lake here, and then I don't really want to get too close to the edge because the camera might break, but there's the waterfall that goes off down there as well because of how harsh this level change is. And then this bridge takes you over to the next themed area. I had so much fun making this ride. This is the Outlands. This Vekoma launched family coaster. The second we saw concept art for like Big Bear, I knew I wanted to do something like it, and then watching all the opening of the ride and people's reactions and all the POVs, it just looked fantastic. And obviously there's Lightning as well, which is Vekoma's other family launched coaster, and I knew I had to do something like it because I just became completely obsessed. So this coaster is just a love letter to Big Bear. I've never been on it, obviously. The only parts of America I've been to were Orlando, but I definitely would love to ride this. Dollywood looks absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to get there someday, but this coaster just owns this entire themed area. This entire themed area basically exists because of this coaster, and it's just fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's a really long, sprawling layout with some great elements, nice like scenery interaction as well. It's got a really unique story behind it as well with the shape-shifting creature, and you're part of, wait for it because I know a lot of people got annoyed, you're part of the WRA. I can spell, I put WSA by accident. I just love this area, it's fantastic. The way you approach it as well, seeing the train launching around everywhere, all the custom supports that are in the path, all the nice scenery things like all the foliage and destroyed vehicles. I'm talking a lot, but it's because I love this themed area so much. So this ride is called Kolukaluka. Really unique ride name. I was happy when someone suggested this. It's just really unique and fits the vibe of the area and the coaster perfectly. She's very annoyed for some reason. The nice theming touches, the queue's fantastic, the elevation changes in the area are really nice. The coaster just takes up the whole kind of sight lines of this nice themed area. I'm just saying the same words over and over again on it, but I just love this coaster. I think this is my favourite coaster in the park. I know I said earlier that I would wait till the end, but no. I think this might be my favourite themed coaster in the park. The Mack Xtreme Spinner was really fun as well, but I spent a lot more time on this one, kind of studying Big Bear and a couple of other coasters like Hagrid to really make it perfect, and I think it really just works, so we'll get on, shall we? I really had a nice time making this queue. I wanted to make it relatively immersive in terms of how close you were getting to the ride, but also quite informative for the story as well. As you can tell, the fence is incredibly low around this queue. It's because that it's not a ride area fence. The ride area fence obviously only goes around the immediate ride area. So legend speaks of a mysterious creature that roams this forest, and that was the kind of the whole vibe and theme I was going for. It was like this old forest with old buildings that could be like temples or outbuildings, like the food unit over there. There's some creature that has probably roamed here for thousands of years, and the point of the attraction is that this whole area, kind of in the similar style to Nemesis really, has been taken over by some organisation that, I don't know whether they're trying to capture this creature or... Actually, yeah, I think you're trying to capture it because that's what the sign says down there. But I'm stuck on this. There we go. That are trying to capture the creature and maybe like experiment on it or find out more about it. So that was kind of what I was going for, and then that sort of informed the theme and then how the queue goes and like talks about the rides. It says the tales talk of a shape-shifting beast that could hide in plain sight, and that's the point of the ride. You're going on this expedition to try and find this creature, but you'll see it in like loads of different ways as you're going around the attraction. It's a really cool idea. Transfer tracks here, I went very overly detailed with these. Get very close to the track, but obviously it's all behind the most important bits anyway, behind the don't die fencing. So you're tasked to locate the creature and try and capture it. So like I said, that's the point of the ride. You're being enlisted by the WRA to go and find this creature and capture it. But I just had so much fun making this coaster. Like I said, Big Bear inspiration completely, but obviously there's all the launch sections. They're all got the evac stairs on them so that you can safely get people off. They've all got routes that go around the site in the ride area to get people off. The queue kind of comes up here with lots and lots of beams and lots of people into the station. And then the station, like I said in the episode, kind of inspired by Untamed of Wallaby Holland, where there's like the suspended green roof thing, and then the platforms, quite nice with the just the shape of the building, how it kind of gives really nice views across the area. And yeah, I'm rambling on, but I think we should go on the coaster. And there you go, that was Kolukaluka. I really had such a good time making this coaster, like I've said. Easily my favourite coaster in this park, I think, now we've been on it again. I just love how satisfying all of the turns are. It's so new-gen Vekoma, I absolutely love it. But I just, like, the custom support celebration as well. Like, there's custom supports that everywhere, and they're just so jank, I love them. But, like, you get this really big open area here where you can just come and watch the ride, like, fly around. You get great vantage points for all, like, the splash elements. Like, there's this one and the one over there. It's just so cool watching it zoom around, and there's just something so satisfying about seeing that long, drawn-out curves like this and snapping elements with a really long train. I don't know, but I just find it fascinating. And you get huge elements like this that are like literally part of the pathway because of where the supports land. It just makes it's like a really cinematic coaster. Like, you can see it from like every angle in this area. Get loads of different vantage points on it. Like, can you imagine vlogging this area? You'd have an absolute field day getting all the shots. I like that shot as well, actually. But like, yeah, it's just designed to be viewed, this coaster, from every angle possible. And that was basically the brief I gave myself. I want Big Bear, but in a ride area that you can completely get into and immerse yourself in. I mean, look at those supports. You'd probably have some sort of, I don't know, cover over some of these, unless the policy for loose articles on the ride is very strict, which is probably something I'd like to experiment with in the next park as well, like either having queue covers or like more detailed queues where I've got metal detectors and like search points in the queues with lockers and stuff. And that's it for this area. We've got a toilets down here and then a gift shop up here, which again, I want to detail the gift shops much more in the next couple of park series, but I just got too carried away with the actual attractions, and this could have probably been done with being elevated a bit more up as well, so you can see a bit more of the ride. But yeah, again, that's why I want to do a smaller park, so I can get in more detail, more immersion. Then you come up this massive terrain change into Amazonia, which is the second to last area, and you get presented with this gigantic custom supported Mack Xtreme spinning coaster. Now, I made this coaster quite a while before I went on Rides to Happiness. Obviously, if you've seen my latest vlogs, you'll now know that I have been on it. And if I was to design this again, it would be very different after I've found out what certain elements feel like and everything, but I would still keep the Cobra roll. The loop on Ride to Happiness is fantastic. Obviously, that first element and the inversion at the station are pretty much the same. This Cobra roll would be so fun. Like, it's like kind of two stalls with a quite powerful positive turn and all the spin and everything. Again, 0G roll, fantastic. The stall, the thing I liked the most about Ride to Happiness was actually the hang time. So that stall would be fantastic on a spinning coaster, at least for me. I would absolutely love it. Ooh, nice lucky autosave. So yeah, I'd just love that. This coaster was my love letter at the time to Ride to Happiness, and I still really like it. But before that, we'll have a quick look at this area down here. You get really good viewpoints of, good timing, of the Vekoma launched family coaster as it flies around its area, and when it kind of comes up to this top part of the hill, the bank, you can have a nice interaction with it with this food unit and seating here. Again, great views of this coaster from this angle as well, because it's very close. This sort of section reminds me of Hulk Islands of Adventure, where you've got quite the big focal point of the Cobra Roll right next to loads of paths and like seating areas and everything. So yeah, I really like that. And then so the stall just is probably the most iconic part of this ride and can be seen from a lot of the park. And I don't know if you heard as well, but the actual launch sections have got speakers on them to like make the noise of the creature that's supposed to be. You've got this path that connects, it's like a more direct route to the other themed area. You get really close to the coaster, right underneath all the coaster supports and everything. And this route takes you right to the attraction's entrance. Oh, and that was a nice moment as well. I wanted, after I'd built the inversion that goes into the brakes, because I already had the inversion that comes out of the station, like Rides to Happiness, I was like, wouldn't it be really cool if I could make these two sync up? But with how I'd built the layout and the launches, it only took a little bit of tweaking, because block section wise you'd want them to naturally finish and start at this point anyway, and it's running 3 trains as well, so it's an absolute capacity monster. But yeah, this works really well, just having that. And then the rapids as well was kind of a happy accident. I had so much spare space in this ride area that I wanted to do something with, and I wanted to do a water ride as well, so I kind of had a bit of a mess around, as you'll see in that episode. Made the water ride fit with the Mack Xtreme spinner in the same area, and it was such a good decision. I'm glad I made that. It really makes this area feel so much more complete. Very happy that I did it. And look at that, the 2 inversions going on at the same time. That's so cool. Anyway, this coaster is called Mapinguari. That I can't remember what it means. You'll have to see from the episode. But yeah, really cool name. I like this one, and this one's got a nice queue as well. Nice and simple. It's got a few water features going on as you circle around the stall. I've got some like nice beams everywhere as well. We all love some good beams. And it just kind of circles around here, round the corner, around some more water features. Don't clip through the wall. You get a nice little view of the Vekoma area in the distance as well. You see loads of coaster track going around. I think we'll get a better view from here actually. Nope. Oh, nice stall there as well. Like, there's a couple of these custom supports, you can tell I did them a while ago because they're not perfect and not how I do them now. So expect a very good custom support to the next part, because I've got custom supporting experience now. I've been doing it for a long time. And you get to the top of this ramp and get a really nice view over this area actually. You can see pretty much all the coasters in the park from here. Got the 2 coasters in the Azure area over there. Got the Vekoma, obviously the Mack, the dive coaster. Can't see the wing coaster from here. And then the GCI off down there, which will be our final coaster of the tour. But yeah, really happy with this. Again, with the station, it was quite a simple design. This kind of just happy accident again that looked quite nice. You've got the skylight that's over the train as well. I want to put a lot more detail into my stations in the next park series, but you'll see that by the time we make it. I don't know why these are not spinning. They're still going. Anyway, I will see you after the POV. So there you go, that was the Mack Xtreme Spinner. I had so much fun again making this one. It was just really interesting to see how like extreme spinners work, and it was especially difficult to try and control the spin to make it realistic and kind of safe, because obviously you don't want it spinning insanely out of control, so you have to be careful how you profile certain elements. And we can't change the resistance of the spinning in the game, which is unfortunate, but I think I did an okay job. Like I said, I definitely do it a lot differently now, but I thought that was a nice different POV to show you as well. Like I said earlier, if you want to see any of the other POVs, like for this one I did track view and like seat view. If If you want to see these, I'll be uploading some POVs to the channel over the next few weeks of this ride and all the other rides in the park, and also there's the actual episodes where I built these rides where their POVs will be as well. Obviously you exit this ride down that ramp, you've got a photo unit there, and then you go over this bridge and you're presented with the rapids. I won't go on the rapids, but I've got all the queue sorted now as well. It's got quite a nice station, this one. I tried to replicate the like the turntable effect from like most modern rapids, how they have that. Obviously these people can't get out in real life, they would just step out onto this platform and then exit, but the game doesn't allow for that because it's only a small sided station, so something for Planet Coaster 2, I hope. Yeah, I love this coaster. Absolutely fascinated by it, just even now, just watching it, but still think the Vekoma's my favourite. Anyway, last themed area and the last coaster. I really enjoyed making this one as well. This was just after, I think, my first visit to Alton Towers in 2022. I think it was maybe like a week after opening day. I had maybe 4 rides on Wicker Man, and I was already obsessed with it, but I knew I wanted to do a small scale GCI like this, and I just became even more obsessed with it. I made a nice food area next to it as well, made a whole complete area of it. The theme of it is kind of, I don't know, open a little bit. It's a little bit like Wicker Man, how there's like some sort of creature that's got, I'll just walk right through the camera. Some sort of creature that's like a big statue in the middle of the ride area, and the ride is sort of interacting with that. Yeah, I wanted it to be a terrain coaster like Wicker Man, lots of tight turns and steep S-turn bank drops and flat turns. Just so much Wicker Man, like a complete love letter to it. It's got sort of like a Mayan feel to it. It's got a temple, which is the toilets. Great interaction with the Mack coaster as well, it's so close. You get this nice area by the water too. And I just love the approach to it. It's Kukulkan, the coaster. I'm assuming most of you know who the god is if this is based off, the name anyway. The snake, I just love that. And then obviously if the train comes past, which there is one leaving now, you will see that it throws water everywhere, which is really cool. It's like it's venom. But I think this was probably one of the later coasters I made for the park, even though it was episode 2. I just had such a fascination with the GCI's transitions and stuff while I was building it, and got completely carried away, did all the profiling really over the top. I ended up 2 meter smoothing this one and then converted it to 4 meter afterwards, so that people without mods can download it from the Steam Workshop and still be able to go on the coaster. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this. The queue as well is probably my most detailed queue I've ever done, just in terms of like the path is completely covered up, like the curbs, so you can't see any of it. And you got like seating areas, like a bench as you go around it, so you're not stood up for the whole time. You get really up and close to the theming and the ride. Very immersive. And yeah, the snake's always watching you. But the ride's like going overhead and everywhere, like it's crazy. And then you can get really close to the snake as you go around it. Just kind of following the ride path as well, like this path goes around it, and then the coaster, there it is, also goes around it. So it's just a nice bit of interaction. That shot there is nice with the snapping curved airtime hill. And you weave all the way around, sort of like the snake, through a queue, then you rise up into the indoor section. Now, next park, like I keep saying, that's a nice view, I want to do another indoor section for a queue, because this really piqued my curiosity as to what you can still do with the game, and in terms of a pre-show as well, which is something I experimented with. Didn't go amazingly. I would have liked to spend a bit more time on it and really learn how to do triggers and stuff in this game, to obviously make the pre-show work. There should probably be a light here so you can actually see the pre-show. I'll play it for you again, just forewarning that it's not like perfect, and I would definitely like to do another pre-show like it someday. And there you go, that's the pre-show. Yeah, like I said, I would like to have done more with it, but This station, I was very happy with this. The skylight is obviously maybe a problem in terms of making it dark. Yeah, you can't really tell at day, because at day these pieces just leak the light through anyway. Nice, there's a coaster outside there actually. Yeah, obviously these pieces just leak the light through into the station at day. But at night it gives a really, really cool effect, and the dispatch effect as well is very, very nice. Like I showed in the video where I made the ride, there's lots of triggers and stuff to make that work, which is 100% something I'm willing to experiment with more to make cooler dispatch effects in the next park and the park after that, and however many more I do, because I just don't want to stop creating in this game. I love it. Making themed experiences like this is easily my favourite thing to do. But I had a great time doing this, and yeah, I don't know what more to say. I just had so much fun making this coaster, making this whole park really. Wait for the dispatch audio. This is the audio of the train leaving, and then this one coming in, making a light into the station. I did want to keep that light on and then have it turn off when the other train leaves, but I couldn't figure out how to do that, so that's why we've got that effect. Anyway, let's go on the coaster. There you go, and that was Kukulkan. I really enjoyed this coaster as much as pretty much all the other ones in the park. Yeah, this park was kind of a dream come true for me. I just wanted to build all the coasters that I really enjoy, or would seemingly enjoy, like in real life. I thought that POV angle kind of gave the best sense of its speed and the snappiness of the transitions. If you want to see front row POV just normally, without the guest sit as well, so you won't have their arms coming up over the camera, then good one to watch will be the POV in the episode, or wait a couple of days and the rest of the POVs will be out for this park. But yeah, that's it. You exit this area going back over the bridge that we saw earlier, back into Atlantis, and then that's it. You've done all the creds in the park. You've completed your day. Now it's only time for re-rides, which I will let you do now because this park is on the Steam Workshop. If you would like to download it and have a look around, please do. If you'd like to do any park tours, please do as well. Let me know and I'll give them a watch, maybe even a share. And that's it for this park series. It's completely finished. I can't quite believe it. When I started this park series in November 2022, I did not think that I would be sat here in May 2024 saying it's finished. It's taken so long. So many things have happened in my life as well since this, like completing uni and so much more, but it's very nice to have it complete, I'll say that. I'm super, super proud of what I've managed to do in this park, given everything else that's gone on in YouTube, in life and everything, and I'm happy to have it done. But most importantly, I can't wait to move on to the next thing, because this park has taught me so much about how I create, and in terms of how I make coasters and everything, that I've learned so much from it. Like, I'd say I've learned more from this park than I have from making any other parks, and than I have from watching loads of YouTube videos and all sorts on how to make stuff. Watching tutorials definitely helped me in the beginning to get a basic grasp of the game, the coasters, the theming, etc. But making stuff for real like this has helped me way, way more, just in terms of you don't know what doesn't work really until you try it. This park series has given me a perfect understanding for me personally of what works when I make it and what doesn't, and it can only make my next series better. So yeah, the next two series, like I've said, I don't know which one's going to come out first. I think my main strategy for them is to start making them both at the same time and then see which one comes out first. Channel members, if you're watching this, I will start to give you progress photos of the next two parks. hopefully I'll, on top of early access to vlogs and park episodes in the future when this series is released, I'm gonna start showing you the stuff at the park now. So that's something to be excited for. If you want to join the channel as a member, you know where to find the button. It's the little join button next to the subscribe. If you click it, it'll tell you exactly what you need to know. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this series. Thank you for all watching every episode, commenting on every episode, the likes. I've broken 10,000 subscribers in this series, which is so cool. Let's see what amazing milestone we can hit next time. We've started another competition. I did a Q&A. It was just fantastic. And we also need to say thank you to ChikChan over here. That's what her name is. Don't know what it actually was, but she's she's helped us with the entire tour, so thank you to her. Yeah, this park series is complete. I can't quite believe it. That's amazing. The next 2 park series is Deadwood Dale, which is my western themed park, and Parker Pleasure Park, which is my amusement theme park. I've teased little bits for these on my Discord and my YouTube before, but like I said, members will get even more teasers soon. POVs will also be out for this soon, and then it'll be whatever videos come next before the next park series. I'm hopefully going to get one of them out for this year. It all depends on how busy life gets. Ideally, I'd like to say I'll get both of them done, but who knows. Yeah, I'm waffling on again, but again, thank you from the bottom of my heart so much for watching this series. You've no idea how much its success has meant to me and that you all love and supported it. I'm going to stop waffling. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you download the park and have a wander around, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Goodbye.